Ellie, good to see you. All right. Anyone else? I see about 3 on. I'll just wait a little longer. There should be quite a bit of people. Okay. Trying a new thing out. I'm trying to see if this is a good idea just to kind of put on the work. Okay, Pamela, welcome, Pamela. To let you guys know, I try to have a quorum. I'm going to explain the aspect of quorum tonight. Really, what quorum means is that I need to meet a certain amount of people in this live class. It's 5, and it should be about 10, including the guest lecturer. If I don't have these 10, then I don't have the live class. I just go ahead and just do the lecture, and then you have to see the video on D2L. And it also means you do have to do the discussion, and you do have to do the quiz and everything. So try to make sure we always have these live classes. It's way better, much, much better this way. People are also on YouTube. Okay, good. Yes, Kelly. If anybody is in the YouTube live chat, do not go there. I'd rather use the chat here group here. And what that does is much, much better, easier communication. So I'm thinking everybody could see me thus far. In fact, I'm gonna go make myself a little bigger, like this. Okay. Decisions class 2018. Anyone else? I think I see Bernard, I see Tamara. Anybody want to give me a count? How many people do we have so far? Okay. It does. Good work, Jake. Thank you for being very resourceful, Jake, on these technological things. I think what you're doing is, yes, the YouTube and the chat. You have to go back and forward, but if it's split screen, it's going to be so much better. This is why I recommend you guys using a computer if you don't have that feature. But definitely, if you have an iPad, it's much, much easier too. Okay, let's see what's going on. Hello, Kelly. How you doing? Octavia's on in here. I think we are at 10. Oh, thank you, Octavia. I really appreciate it. There are some of you who definitely help me out. I ask. I say, hey, ask your classmates, and I see Jake give an answer. I see Octavia give an answer. I see Tamara give an answer. I think I really have to say I appreciate you. Let me tell you, at the time when grading happens, and I have to give a few extra points here and there, I'll remember those efforts. I also remember if I have to ask you, so what is your name? Yeah, that's a lot more difficult. I do want to explain a few things before we start the recording, guys, about class, about college, okay? This is your first online course for some of you. Some of you have had courses all along this way, but not necessarily this way. It's always been a little bit thank you. Yes. It's always been a little bit different. This is different. This is what's called asynchronous. This is called synchronous. I'm sorry. Synchronous learning, synchronous online learning. Okay. And what that means is that you're coming into a classroom that's live at a certain time. Let me tell you, I've been doing a lot of research, and I believe this is the absolute best way to learn. Synchronous at the same time. This is also why you pay attention to live events like the Super Bowl yesterday. If the Super Bowl was asynchronous, where you could come in and watch it anytime you want, sort of like a movie, I don't think it will have the same effect. So I believe, in my school of thought, is that I'm in a school of thought that asynchronous online learning is the best way. I mean, we're all here at the same time at 8 o'clock, at 7 p.m. on a Monday, trying to get all this information out the way, getting it, squeezed in, and then you get it to yourself. So you who are here with me get to be part of the discussion. The people who can't get to go and view the discussion online. But let me tell you, I am going to definitely make it a little more of a leg up because those who are with me want the participation. And this is a business course. And business participation is very key, okay, for every branch in the College of Business, okay? Now, remember, the College of Business is a school of thought. It's not just a building somewhere. The College of Buildings have about 6 to 5 departments, right? Accounting, finance, management, marketing, MIS, which is, some of you guys don't know it, but it's IT for business. And there's one more, economics. It comes in and out. Sometimes it's part of the College of Business, sometimes it's not. This is not buildings, guys. This is not, you go to University of Houston, go to University of Texas, and then there's buildings, No, these are schools of thought within the main College of Business, okay, which is not very old. The College of Business is probably about the 40s, 1940s. It kind of started about. Undergraduate College of Business is actually pretty new. It was going to be a college, like a graduate school thing, Harvard Business School. And decisions class lies within the College of Business, yes, but under management. So if you go to College of Business, Department of Management, here comes decisions, right? So this is what I'm trying to show you, how to be a decision maker. I will share a story when we begin. But overall, this is, what I tell you, why you deal with me as a professor, because I'm trying to show you little tactics that work as a manager. And I will share one. So when we start, really when I say I start is I gather everybody, then we start the recording, and it's for everybody because there's people out there that they're going to watch this, okay? Afterwards, which has been recorded. So I'm going to start. And do anybody have any questions? Anyone have any questions? And you know what? I think what I'll do is, okay, so we're here in decisions class. My next class is at 8 p.m., which is my consumer relations class. And I'll also kind of provide you guys one last thing. And that's it. Give me a second. Okay. I think it pretty much will begin. All right, ready? So we'll begin in 3, 2, 1. Good evening, class. It's Professor Puente, and I'm here in the video recording with your class, actually. On the right, you'll see the chat for GroupMe. If you're not part of this chat, I would suggest you join it. A lot of people have asked me how to join it. There's a few of you that already have joined it. Good job. Make sure you come on and get on these classes. These classes are at 7 p.m. on Monday. They don't last too long, these live sessions. They really don't last too long. If you can't make it, it's not mandatory. It's just your life may be a little more difficult. That's all. And some people don't mind the, again, asynchronous setup, which means you come into D2L at whatever time you want. You finish your homework and you leave. I'm here to provide that for you. I'm not going to. I'm going to. But I do like the live setup. This is what's working well for colleges out there, okay? And it's one of those two schools of thoughts of distance learning, asynchronous and synchronous. Again, this is synchronous, meaning at the exact same time. So I hope some of you guys out there live tell me what you believe it's a good way. Now, to let you know, these people that are on discussion with me right now are not just going to be giving a discussion grade. They're going to work for it. They're going to give me good answers, okay? So you guys out there on the chat group, please give me some good questions that I can bring up for the video. I don't have a guest lecturer today. Our guest lecturer today was not able to make it. I believe next week she will, okay? So hopefully I'll see you there next week, Tamara. And we'll go from there. I'll pick up a few more volunteers. I'll also kind of explain to you what the project is about. Right now, I'm just going to lecture you over objectives 9 through, actually part 2, the first 4 objectives. I have your book. Here's your book. You can follow with me online. Again, if you guys are out there and I'm saying something, I expect for you to say, because I'm going to grade you over your discussion, okay? So everybody out there in this group grade, you don't have 100 for showing up. You get 100 on your discussion quality. So what I would do is if you hear some topic, I would write a nice little paragraph right now, And like right now, Jake, perfect example. I appreciate this type of learning because people like me who work and don't necessarily have time but prefer face-to-face. So thank you. Sorry for me. No, it's perfect. See, Jake's already got a positive leg up on his discussion. Great out there. Those who have to do the discussion, I do expect very quality material in D2L. You're not just going to be given 100 either because you meet the 500 word minimum. I expect for you to go there and type very good quality discussions. Okay, this is decisions class, so you'll see that the discussion will get a little more structured. All right, thank you so much for that, Jake. And as we go, please put in your input, and I'll rewatch this, guys. I rewatch this message, and I'll remember, hey, I like that comment. Jake, I like that comment. So when I go back to this, I'll remember that. So good. So now we start with objective 9. There is something I do want to show you. It's going to be on on your book, page 18, technology at work, crowdsourcing. This is part of still of objective. This is part of part 1, but it is not its own objective. It's kind of just telling you a little bit about what it is. Crowdsourcing is a major item in today's business world. Crowdsourcing just means you take data from a whole bunch of people, and you place it together to create an item. If anybody's heard of Wikipedia, this is how Wikipedia works. Crowdsourcing. People grab the data information of online, of information about articles that could be about anything, and they put it into this website, and then they also confirm it. So you can't really just say something. You have to say something and bring the article stating what it just said. That's why Wikipedia is a really good source, believe it or not. It gets crowdsourced edited, it gets crowdsourced informed, and it gets crowdsourced read. So it's really the community. This is why it's a wiki that comes together and builds onto something. This is the exact same thing for even Bitcoin. Bitcoin works off the blockchain. If people don't know that, that's a big keyword now. Okay, that big keyword means that people could use your computer to kind of do ledgers, to do accounting on your computer. Imagine all these computers were much bigger and they all synchronized. Yes, that's crowdsourcing. The information crowdsources, bigger and bigger amount. Here's another one that you've probably heard, crowdsource funding, meaning that, hey, if you have an item, you let the class know, I'll put it out there for, hey, look, Jake has this wonderful application. He wants funding. He would like for us to kind of give him some funding and become famous with him. That's crowdsourcing, crowdsource funding or crowdfunding. This is big, really big in today's world, okay? Facebook works the exact same way. Voting is now getting to crowdsourcing. It's changing the world. Why? Because we all have cell phones. We all have cell phones like this, and we can communicate with each other. This would not be the case back about 200 years ago. Communication is what makes it a big difference. What happens if someone puts the wrong information in Wikipedia, Tamara? That's a great, great question. And let me tell you, some of you professors, especially English professors, I'm not going to throw them out there, they're not going to like for you to cite Wikipedia ever. I'm not one of them. I would love for you to cite Wikipedia because it's sourced. So if you say something from Wikipedia, I am going to ask you to tell me where the source out of Wikipedia comes from. If you want to know where it is, it's at the very bottom. You'll see links. So that's the only thing I say if you want to source Wikipedia. Octavia, Wikipedia is not a valuable source of information. I actually disagree, Octavia. I absolutely. In fact, I have to clear this up because this is one of those things where people get misinformed and the reason people get misinformed is because yes, it is out there. It's let's see if you put anything about Clinton, right? Like Bill Clinton, right? We always use him because Clinton's research and Bill Clinton, right? Let me tell you this, Octavia. This is his article here, okay? And this is important because it's a source of information, okay? If you look at his article, at the very, very bottom of all the data, you'll see the sources of each one of these right here. So whenever you actually cite Wikipedia, the only thing you should do is go to the main source where Wikipedia got it from. If you want to know how it gets edited, is you state something, but it goes back to that link. It goes back to that link to see if that is correct and if it's a credible resource, okay? So believe it or not, it actually turns out to be one of the most reliable data informations in the internet compared to the Google. Google does the exact same thing. If you go here and you put etymology of business, right? You start to see that business was an old English word, busyness. It comes from busyness. And it even gives you more information about it, which are links going back to the internet again. If I click any one of these, it goes back to something else. So this is why it's important, guys, to understand crowdsourcing is really changing the world, but it's taken away from the major publishers, the textbooks. So it's just a new way. It's absolutely a new way. There's actually an app called Earning that utilizes outsourcing. It is a way to get part of your paycheck before you get paid. It is run off from others putting in tips from the mentor. So Jake, I didn't know that. That is definitely crowdsourcing. If that's what you mean. If someone puts in the tips, put them together, then definitely it's more like the mass. The mass coming together helps you out through information, through funding, etc. So an area where a bunch of people contribute information, which turns becomes a huge reference of references. Exactly. So then let's begin with objective 9, which also talks about gathering and analyzing data. So define your data needs. You know, when you're trying to make a decision, remember this is decisions course. You're making decisions. You need to save this book, guys. This book is going to be your reference from now on making a decision. And this could be little from a car, from a home, from a business you're trying to buy, right? Define your data needs. You're trying to buy a business, right? What information do you need to reach an informed decision? A thoughtful answer to this question helps you guide your research. Make a list of important data where you can find it. Absolutely. So where is this data coming from? Do not overestimate what you know about the problem, okay? Keep as you go down from that page. Document the data and its sources. Didn't we talk about that? Wikipedia, you're going to go there. If you come and tell me, Octavia, because I do agree with you there, hey, this is Bill Clinton, and this is my Wikipedia link. That's not enough. What you need to do is go to Wikipedia, tell me where is the link that Wikipedia got that from, and that will help you a lot more, okay? So document the data and its sources. From now on, when you go to Facebook, you're going to see a nice little information button where you click and it says where the source of the information comes from. Facebook has been under fire for their fake news, right? Fake news. And they're trying to change that. Jake says, I use Wiki, but I always cross-check with other reputable sources. I never just trust one side. Very good, Jake. Definitely diversity of information. And also something else called synthesis, meaning that when you take your information and you put it together with someone else, that's one of the best ways to get good information. So what that means is, hey, there's a bomb threat. Okay, let's look at one news site. Then let's look at CNN. Then let's look at Fox News. And let's see what it's matching up. That's a very good way to find out good information, okay? You're now in the era, guys, where you have to judge your information. Absolutely. Don't just trust it. Examine existing information first. Acquiring information costs you and others time and effort. It absolutely does too. So you have information, you have data, and you have to trust it. But if it's acquired and it's wrong, then you've made a decision off it. So it doesn't help you. Rely on people as your most important resource. I agree and disagree at the same time with that, because you have to realize that who are you relying on? If you want a question about a tire and you're asking the brakes guy, then that's probably not a good idea. You may want to ask the tire people. Also, remember the tire people have their own interest. So you're trusting the tire people about your tire. You have to realize that they also have their own self-interest on that item. So maybe you should ask about 3 tire people. So the way you have an idea of the synthesis of what's happening. I do this in real estate a lot. I make sure I get to about 3 to 4 bids, so I know what the best one to trust, right? And consider interrelationships. Most of the data you collect is interrelated because it is connected to the same problem. Examine all the information together to see how it is connected. Again, synthesize. That's all that means. Synthesize. So Professor Puente told me not to take my gut as one of my decision factors. And then you may want to go online and find out which other professors are saying the same thing. Or maybe who's saying this that has done super well in your life. Or maybe a pastor. Or maybe a major of a town. So you have to realize, synthesize the information so the way it makes sense to you. It's funny because 100 years ago, information was scarce. There was none. You weren't an attorney because there was no information. You weren't a doctor because you had information. You trusted the attorney because they read it up and they knew where to get it, aka the library. which had a huge membership fee. Now everybody has information. But the deal now is to get the data out, clean it, and make sure you're following the right information, because there's so much out there. Kelly says, in the section about not overestimating what you know about the problem, I like what it says about leaving your mind open. This is a great point and should be used in any situation. Kelly, I like that statement. I'll go back when I'm grading and I'll see that statement. And remember that when I give you a grade. So please remember that, guys. I also do go back and see who is not inputting. I gotta tell you that, guys, too. So we'd love for like a statement per objective. That'd be great. And those on D2L, guys, your statements vary just as good as Kelly's. Otavia says, people can end up being scammed by Wikipedia because it provides or comes off as a great source, but it's not trustworthy when solving a problem. I would want a reliable source that 100% valid. Okay, Octavia, perfect. What you just did is actually part of the chapter, one of the objectives called a claim. You made a claim, which is absolutely fine. However, you may want to back up your claim with something that happened to you. Well, I was scammed, or this friend of mine got scammed. Remember, if you say this friend is like a second source. If you got scammed, this first source. So all that's important. You made a claim, and some people believe it. Just with that claim, you may want to back it up with the reason why that was. Okay. Good example, Octavia. If anything, I like that. Developing alternatives. So if you think creatively, number one, thinking creatively. The desire to solve a problem often anchors in people and their initial ideas. Through this limits the possibilities to consider and detracts from the quality of the final solution. Guys, thinking creatively is something that's incredibly important. I can't tell you how you'll go through college. You'll learn a craft. You'll learn a language, okay? In this case, I'm teaching you the management language. You go to a manager and you throw these key terms, claim, if anything like that, a premise, then you know that will absolutely help you. That absolutely will gather that decision and give you credibility with other managers, right? When you're creative with what you've learned with those key terms, you take it up another notch, okay? That's why you take this course. This course, I teach you the language of management. Then you get creative with it, okay? I'm hoping that this is part of the project that we're gonna do. Brainstorm ideas. Brainstorm ideas is you get together and you crowdsource. We spoke about that, right? When you do this crowdsourcing, it begins to gather some steam, gather some big mass information pile, and then you kind of just start to delete on what you need and what not to need, right? Ask others for advice. Even if you're responsible for solving a problem, you do not have to work alone. You absolutely don't. I think the book keeps doing that. Don't work alone, right? And the next one is develop a mind map. Mind mapping is one of the best things you could do, guys, to study. I completely forgot about mind mapping. I really think that, sometimes I use it myself, but I want to push it onto you guys. What that means is take all these concepts, put it in a wall, a blank wall like this one, right? And little index cards, and connect the dots, kind of like you're a detective. Finding information, it's better for your memory than reading it, okay? That's really important for you, some of you that are really going to take major tests. Find the information. What's the insight? What's tonight? What are the 3 things that you've learned from me that you didn't know that are going to help you? 3 major things. I really would love for someone to answer that. That'd be great. Okay, so Octavia, I understand Wikipedia does not have good useful resource, but I was always taught not to rely on it 100%. Yes, Octavia, you were told not to, but I just need to know why were you told not to? You see that? Is it because one? And I hear it all the time. I'll tell you why. In my case, I'll tell you why. Because professors don't tend to trust the internet too much, and I happen to be kind of a younger type. I mean, I want to be more technology prone professor. So I'm hoping you realize here that maybe I'm giving you a counter to that. All right. So then, yeah, and quote me. And if the professor tells you why, please send me my information. I'll talk to him. I am that passionate about it. Another thing I'm passionate about is I don't like paper. Digitalize everything. Okay, I say that as a paper book, right? Let me see some of these. I understand Wikipedia does have okay. Actually, what's the best way to be sure that people are being truthful while gathering data so that you can use the information? Tamara is a great example. There are a few. There are a few things. I'm sorry, that's a great point. There are a few things you need to do. Okay, you need to establish credibility. The first thing, you see something online, you hear the information, immediately try to question it. That's called skepticism. This is what you do in science. Well, as a PhD, me taking my PhD courses, the first thing they teach you is be a skeptic. I don't believe it. Let me see why. So somebody made a claim. Hold on a second. I didn't see the premises. And we'll learn that later on. Secondly, credibility. Who am I? Who am I to you? I'm your professor. I think I talked to one of you guys. The only way I became a professor is if I graduated with a master's, right? And this is why master's means teacher. So I'm here in front of you as a degreed professor. And that's the only way it works. So I have some authority there, right? So look at the credibility there. It doesn't mean you can only listen to degreed people. No, not at all. If you need to listen about gardening, you talk to a master gardener, right? That's the whole point. Make sure you get the fields right. And that's something else I would do. Just look at the credibility. Some professors have stated in previous classes to cross-reference with other sites. Thanks for the information, Professor Puente. Of course, Octavia. No problem. This is what we're here to learn, right? Hey, it could be one of your insights. Evaluating options. Let's go to objective 11. Choose an evaluation method. To select a solution from the alternatives you develop, adopt an appropriate way to evaluate. Is a decision small enough that you can choose intuitively? If not, consider the pros and cons of each alternative. Evaluation criteria are the variables that drive your decisions, right? What are the variables? What are variables of evaluation criteria? So let me give you an example. I wanted to buy a phone. I needed to get a service. I was between AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. What are some of the variables? One for me was pricing of the plans. Two was connection to the area, so that way I can actually use my phone. And three was, the ability for me to have a good phone. So I wanted a really good phone, and see how that helps me out. So those were my three criteria to do. So Pamela says, one of my last professors would not allow the use of Wikipedia, which sometimes made researching harder because there are some topics that are hard to find anywhere except Wikipedia. Well, Pamela, you need to probably give a good point to your professor to get him to understand why was the issue about that, right? So in fact, you didn't even need to use Wikipedia, actually. You could have just used the source of Wikipedia it's using instead of Wikipedia. So remember that, Pamela. Three things you're teaching us, as Tamara says. One, for us to think outside the box. Two, things won't always be in black and white, so we have to make decisions sometimes without things being spelled out. Three, it's important to have face-to-face with us because you can get better feedback. I'm sure I am more by the end semester. Thank you, Tamara. Those were really good. I like number 2. Things won't always be black and white. Man, that is so big. That's absolutely big. I think it really boggles people's mind how it's like, it's this or that. It's a dog or a cat. And they get blown away when they see a dog and a cat together, right? If you guys want to know, we have in this house an axolotl. You should look up what an axolotl is. It's like half lizard, half amphibian, half fish. That's the world. The world is not black and white, right? So try to look into that. All research nowadays is done online, but instead of just using online, we could just also refer to textbooks, books, and even, yes, Stephania, you could do that. You could, instead of going online, go to these books. However, these books are really expensive, okay? Another thing about these books is textbooks. It takes a long time to get information into here. So by the time it's here, it may be a little bit outdated. Gotta be honest about it. This is not the same for other courses, biology, math, but in marketing, in management, yes. So be careful. If you keep going about evaluating options, rate the alternatives. You always want to rate the alternative. How does it go? What's your 3, 2, 1 on those situations? Another one says 3, weigh your criteria. So for me, the phone plan pricing was number 1. Then the phone was number 2, and then number 3, everything else. Make a decision. Choose the best alternative and use it to develop a solution to the problem. Do not be concerned if the selected alternative is not perfect. That's right. Make a decision. That's so huge, by the way. Don't be concerned if it's not perfect. If you want to get things perfect, you're going to have a long, long time. Making things perfect is called idealism. Idealism is a source of philosophy where you make everything just right. It's perfect for black and white thinking. Pragmatism, whereas it's practical. It's much easier. Things are easier. That's probably the best way to think of things, guys. This is how to make a good decision. Octavia says yes. Also, as well as before solving or jumping to some conclusions, stop to think of the cause, symptoms, and risk. Great job, Dr. Puente, and you have changed my perception of Wikipedia. Hey, Octavia, thank you. You definitely brought it out. We were able to speak further about it. You got information from a source, but please do me a favor, Octavia, challenge me on it and go out there and maybe find why it's not a good source, right? And then we can synthesize and make it better. And not Dr. Puente yet, probably about 2 years from now. Still working on it. Thank you, though. Kelly, 3 things I'm learning from you are different ways of using tools and technology, problem solving, decision making techniques, and new perspective on learning. Thank you, Kelly. I think you'll be going into some of those a little more specific. Last objective, guys, and then I'll give you some of the quiz questions. Get approval from the problem owner when you go for objective 12. This is important because some people are going to ask you for this decision, especially since you took this class. If you're in the middle of your job, career right now, you're taking a job, go to your manager and tell them, hey guys, let me tell you, I'm taking a decisions and making class. Your manager's gonna either know it or not, but if they don't, just tell them this is all about decisions, especially because I'm gonna give you a decision to happen this weekend. So get approval from the owner. When you're gonna make a decision, make sure, hey, do you mind if I kind of take this apart and put it into pieces and use what I learned from Professor Puente to help you? Develop a plan. It's really important to have a plan. The reason some people say don't have a plan is because things change. That doesn't matter. Always have a plan. Remember, in an airplane, the pilot has to have a flight plan or it's illegal. And if the flight plan changes, they just have to give another flight plan. It's never legal for a pilot to go somewhere without a plan. That's how life should be, right? Notify stakeholders. So stakeholders is everybody involved. Right now, I have a class to teach. Someone is helping take care of my kids while I teach you this class. Okay, that's a stakeholder. That person is helping me to have time to give you this time. That's a stakeholder of a situation. You're a stakeholder to this class because you're a student, and maybe the person helping you taking this class is also a stakeholder. So try to understand what that word stakeholder is. Is anyone connected to the situation that may be affected, right? Anticipate opposition, really important. If you have a point, make sure you understand the other side. I kind of understood the other side of what Octavia was saying. There are professors that say that. There are some things that are bad. So anticipate the opposition. So you know how to, take action. Number 5, take action. Because if you do all these plans and you implement all the solutions and you don't take action, then it's all undone, right? 2 things I want to share with you guys. Well, actually, a few of these questions. Also, before solving and jumping to those, we should stop and think the cause and symptoms. I found before coming up with a conclusion, one is to listen to all options. Listening is so huge these days with the problem solving. Listen. Yes, Jake, it's really hard to listen sometimes because you have this eagerness to make a quick decision. So hold on. If something happens, sometimes it's good to take time to look at it. Now, don't get paralyzed. See, no answer is complete. Have you ever gone to anyone, a physician, and ask them questions, and all the answers the physicians give you are depends. That's how actually life is. Nothing is black and white. If you work hard and you get your degree, will you make 6 figures? Depends. See that? Yes, the second you get your degree, you will get your 6 figures. Nope. Not guaranteed at all. Nothing's guaranteed. So don't expect for you to get black and white answers if the world's not black and white, right? If you have not read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you all should. It backs up a lot of what Professor Puente is claiming and explains the interesting ways to implement in daily life. Jake, I got to say, Dr. Covey is one of my foundations. I've read his book multiple times, and I live it every day. So I do agree with Jake. That one and other books and other mentors, other idols that I have in my head. Octavia, yes, listen, gather data, analyze what in front of you. Don't get caught up in the bandwagon effect. No, very true. Bandwagon effect is part of the book. So very good, Octavia. I remember that. Itina I was told not to trust Wiki because anyone can update it based on their beliefs of info, regardless if it's true or not. Itina, I will challenge you to look deeper into that. Okay. Anyways, two things. One thing that happened this weekend is I ordered. I love technology. I love the age we're living on, and my wife, ordered Amazon Prime. I'm sorry, not Amazon Prime. Kroger delivery of our Super Bowl products. Instead of going all the way to Kroger, which is not far away, it's actually maybe 2-minute drive. We didn't want that. We wanted the groceries to come to us. You know, we have 2 kids, and you know, even though we have help with our kids, with one of the on the list with us, it's still, you know, time consuming. So what we did is we actually put the order in, make sure it commits at 10 a.m. On Sunday, and never came. We picked up the phone. I picked up the phone, called Kroger, and Kroger was like, well, it's a third party. And I was like, okay, well, then let me talk to your manager. And I talked to a manager, and then that manager's manager, that manager's manager. What I was doing is trying to get a decision and see who's the decision maker. Then I spoke to the top manager in that store, and I said, listen, I have a Super Bowl party. I made this purchase. It's brand new service. Doesn't look good. I don't think you'll be happy if I have to keep calling up for a decision maker to give me a good decision. And I used all the terms in this book, all the terms that he gave me. And I got to a person that actually understood what I was doing, apologized, drove the groceries here. The store manager, the general store manager of this Kroger in Summerwood, came to my house, dropped off the items, and it was a great conversation. And all I gotta say is, if you are able to use what's in this book, you'll get to reason. Reason is your friend, guys. Reason. Reason is just a language. It's got no feeling. It just has reason. So that's probably what you want to seek, is reason. Feelings are great. They're wonderful. Just keep it out of business for a little bit, and then get home and have them. You know, business can be great for you if you just use reason. So that was that. My second thing I want to tell you guys is I want to invite some of you, whoever wants to come in, to my seminar. I have a seminar, a real estate seminar. I'm a broker. I will be doing a class, a free class. I'm trying to convince colleges, Lone Star College and you know, Rice University, UH, to have a real estate investment course. Why do you see all these We Buy Houses sign all over the road? I'd like for you guys to come. In fact, I think I'll give some of you guys a bonus points. I am going to give bonus points for you guys to come to my seminar. I don't know how many yet. Just I'll decide when I get there. But come in. I'll give you a link to it. It's Thursday at 8 p.m. It's the same setup. I'll give you a link, and then you get to see the real estate investment course that I'm going to have for free. And again, it's just so you know the tips to trade, you know, and if you could spread it to anybody who wants to know about real estate information is really expensive. I pretty much, you know it from my own firm that I joined, but they actually made me work very hard for very little money. And I was able to bring some information out. My goal is not to make money of anybody, but to increase awareness so these universities and colleges give me a chance to teach a real estate course. All right. You guys have any questions? Let me know. That's it. Have a good night. Thank you. Jake says, honestly, one of my favorite books right now, Professor Puente. I found so many people and truly scared of making decisions stays. Very true. Not making a decision, Jake, is making a decision. Remember that. That's all. And I will be putting some of the quiz questions here. Remember, the quiz is due tonight. I will definitely do it. I hope you enjoy the system, you know, a little bit of reading up front, quiz, and the next. This quiz is 5 through 8, so what we went through last time. And that's it. If you have any questions, let me know, okay? Class is not Thursday. That's seminar, the real estate seminar I'm providing is Thursday. Just in case people know, but you're absolutely fine to come in. And I'll send a link out. All right. Thank you so much, guys.